Hey, it's Huck. And for the first 2 days now in a row, in a very, very long time, old Huck is feeling pretty good. I felt so good today I got out and did a little bit of yard work. Picking out a few weeds, and I love doing that. I'm sorry, but that's old Huck here. Anyway, I feel terrible that it has been weeks, more than a month, I believe now, that since I've posted a video on either of my channels, and there's been so many things I've wanted to say, so I'm going to try to condense it all into one short video here. First of all, Huck is doing fine today. I was doing pretty good yesterday, and I actually tried to film something outdoors yesterday, used my regular camera, and my computer, so here we are on my smartphone again. What I wanted to talk about today was the encouraging, how encouraging it is that this momentum that we progressives, we Democrats, we liberals, however you prefer to be called, the momentum that began really on November 8th when the realization hit us all that Trump was elected. From that Women's March the day after Inauguration Day to yesterday's, impressive Democratic turnout in the Georgia 6th congressional special election. And all of the events, town hall meetings, rallies, indivisible group meetings, in between. The key to defeating the Republican agenda and the Donald Trump administration, the key to defeating it is not to sit back and wait for, a reluctant GOP to somehow impeach the president. It's not to sit idly by and wait for the FBI or Justice Department to do something about the Russian connection to Trump and his associates. The key to defeating the Republican agenda and Donald Trump is to elect more Democrats. And we have already shown that we can be extremely effective. Look at some of the things that have happened just in the past 3 months. This has not been a good time to be a member of the GOP. Virtually every, congressional member of the GOP has either gone to town halls and had their asses handed to them and been asked a barrage of questions that they knew they could not answer truthfully, or they've been too embarrassed to even show up. This has just been, and for folks who speak on their behalf on the far right, I mean, look what happened today. Bill O'Reilly is off the air. Alex Jones, InfoWars crazy person, talk about your alt-right. This guy has had to own up to the fact that, that he plays a character. Doesn't believe the things that he says. Now, this all came out in a custody hearing. But this has just been a very, very bad couple of months for the right. And the fact is our victories are going to be smaller than we like sometimes. I mean, a lot of people had, unrealistic high hopes that somehow we were going to win that special election in Kansas last week. And, the fact that we turned a ruby red Republican district in the heart of Kansas that normally votes Republican by plus 30 points, and the Democrat came within 7 points. All of that was because of turnout. The Democrat in that race had something like 68% turnout in the Democrats' favor, while the Republican turnout was somewhat depressed. I mean, it was in the 30s. And we're not going to win districts like that. We're just not. The fact that we came within 7 points is as close as we're going to get. But the fact that it was the Republicans that didn't turn out, when largely the history of Democratic poor showings is because we tend not to show up for special elections. We tend to not show up for midterm elections. We do a better job showing up for presidential elections, particularly when we have a candidate that we can sincerely get behind. But Democrats were somewhat divided, and we were somewhat divided in 2016 in part because, not because there were a large swath of us voting for Donald Trump, but there was a swath of us that were not happy with Hillary Clinton. Part of that, I think, is really due to the fact that the GOP had spent 25 years, repeatedly echoing, what a monster she was, and a lot of that was BS. But part of it also was the whole Russian thing. I mean, there were just as much as there were people paid to provide fake news in support of Donald Trump and against other Republicans and against Hillary Clinton. There were also these Bernie bots that were convincing all through the Democratic primary, trying to convince Bernie supporters that Hillary somehow was evil, some kind of a caricature of a candidate. And some of that, unfortunately, stuck to her after the primary was over. And no support, no efforts by Bernie to get on the Hillary bandwagon were able to overcome some of that. So even with all of that going against her, Clinton still ended up getting 3 million more votes than Donald Trump. It just wasn't enough to bring her over the top in a few very select states. By a hair's breadth difference in states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. So the main thing is we are showing up now, and at times that we traditionally don't. I am quite encouraged by what I'm seeing, and the only question now in my mind is, can we sustain this for the long term? And because that's what is going to be required. We need to sustain this kind of energized turnout and outrage, and it's hard. It's hard to do that. And I'm probably as politically wired as they come on the left. And even I have to take a break from it once in a while. Even I have to turn off the TV, or watch, Bates Motel or something different just to get away from it once in a while. But when it counts, we have to re-engage. I get a phone call from my local Indivisible group every Sunday night. I get a call from one of these big national organizations. I can't even remember which one it is now. They alert me to marches or rallies or other events that are going to be taking place. What I should be calling, my representative about on any given day, and these kind of things are important. I subscribe to the Daily Cost newsletter, which kind of keeps me informed of candidates and races that I might otherwise not be aware of, and issues. Of course, I follow a lot of very interesting people on Twitter. My next video, by the way, is going to highlight two of those people in particular, because I'm going to have a lot to say about sustaining and strengthening the Affordable Care Act. One of the great achievements of our resistance has been the fact that we defeated efforts thus far. We all know that the Republicans had as their number one priority, as it is always their number one priority, to make some major changes to our tax system. And of course, you can bet your ass that those changes are going to benefit the very wealthiest people. And a big component of that, maybe a primary component of that, was all along to repeal Obamacare, because that's a big 3.8% tax cut for the wealthy. And the fact that they were not able to get that done, and the fact that they are still looking for ways to try to get that done, they can't circumvent the fact that people are finally getting it. They're finally understanding what that law does and what it doesn't do, and how beneficial it is, not just to the 20 million people that suddenly got coverage due to it, but also the millions of other people that get their insurance, whether it's from their employer or wherever, because of the protections and the preventative, measures that are part and parcel of the Affordable Care Act. We did that. We accomplished that failure of the GOP to push through what was their number one priority. And while they're still busy working at it, we have got to keep our foot on the pedal and continue to hammer away at the fact that we're not going to allow them to dismantle a program that means so much to everybody. What they do, in fact, need to do is they need to strengthen it and fix some of the problems, because there are problems with it that affect a lot of people. And my next video is going to be all about what those fixes specifically should be. There are two people I follow on Twitter. One is kind of an Obamacare sign-up tracker. His name is Charles Gaba. And the other is Andy Slavitt. Slavitt, under the Obama administration, was a person that was in charge, basically, of implementing and overseeing the Affordable Care Act. And knows all of the... between the two of these folks, they know all about... its strengths, its weaknesses, and why, Trump and his Secretary of the Health and Human Services, Tom Price, how they could very easily sabotage the Affordable Care Act. And the first sign of that is going to be whether or not they renege on offering these insurance companies these CMS payments, billions of dollars that they're entitled to, that really is at the discretion of the administration to do. And it is by withholding that money, they can almost guarantee that few, if any, insurers will want to get back into the market for 2018. And by implementing that money, which those companies have coming to them under the law, will go a long way towards normalizing the exchanges somewhat. Now, there are other things that need to be done too, and we're going to talk a lot about those in very specific detail. But it's largely those two fellows that I just mentioned where I've gotten a lot of that information, and so attribute that to them as is appropriate. At any rate, so my message today is, congratulations on making your voices heard, and and a big, my big, shout out to each of you, and my earnest hope that we will continue to, to speak out, be heard, organize, get involved, and show up. We're already seeing some dramatic results as a result of this energy. We're seeing Shavitz is already saying he's not going to run for re-election. We've seen a couple of these Republican hard writers, give in on a number of demands where we've called for, whether it be to call for Trump to release his taxes, or whether it's to assure that anything they do with health care will include mandating that pre-existing conditions are covered. So right now, our best hope is to keep this energy going. We just saw, like I say, a remarkable event transpire yesterday in Georgia. There were 19 candidates in all, 5 of them Democrat, but most of the Democratic vote congealed around the one candidate, Ossoff. There were, I think, 11 of those 19 candidates were Republican, and they were somewhat splintered. And I think it was unrealistic to expect that Ossoff was somehow going to reach 50%. The fact that he got 48% of the vote when there were 5 Democrats in the field, when there were 19 candidates in the field, nobody gets, even 30% of the vote in a field that crowded. So this means that we're not only organized, it means that we're not only energized, but it means that we're playing smart. And I wouldn't give up any of this hope that in June, Ossoff is somehow going to lose that congressional district. He might. But basically, that turnout was pretty evenly split. In a district that has gone Republican for 37 straight years. In a district that, voted Tom Price by 23 points just in November. In a district that was the home field for Newt Gingrich for years. There's no way a Democrat should come within 20 points of a Republican in that district. And this is one of the richest, most affluent, districts, voting districts in all of Georgia. It's a northern suburb of Atlanta. And the fact that Ossoff took 48% of the vote in this runoff, and his nearest competitor, this woman who he will now face in a runoff, I think her name is Karen Handel, Republican. We'll have more on her in a later video. She got like 20% of the vote. The guy that Trump was really pushing for, this guy Paul Gray, I think he ended up with something like around 10% of the vote, and there was somebody else just about tied with him. At any rate, the overall vote was something like, I know Ossoff got like 60% of the early vote, which really helped him. But on the day of the actual voting yesterday, of in-person voting, the Republicans largely took about 61% of the vote. It ended up that Republicans had about a 2% margin greater of turning out than Democrats. Now, in a district that should go about 20-point Republican, that's a remarkable turnaround. I actually believe that if we can repeat that in June when they have this runoff, Ossoff could very well win that race. The trouble for Republicans, though, is that there are about 48 congressional seats that are far more purple than that one. And in those 48 seats, Democrats only need to win about 24, 25 of those to take back control of the House in 2018. And like I say, there are a lot more blue than that district. So if we keep up this momentum, that's going to be the key. You want to get Trump out of office, you want to completely dismantle the Republican agenda, we take the House in 2018, it'll be done. So that's my message for today, and I thank you for waiting for so long. The other good news, I guess, that I've had here in the last 30 days while I haven't been feeling so well is I have been amazed at how well this channel has been doing in my absence. I did a video back in 2000 and, I don't know, about 5 years ago, shortly after Obamacare went into effect. I don't know, I think I made this video back in 2011 or 2012. And that video, Obamacare, the real reason Republicans hate it, has received something like 50,000 views in the last month. I'm actually going to make some money on this video. I don't know how much, and it's been years since I've made any money on any of my videos. I don't even try. But you know, all this debate over the Affordable Care Act and the efforts by the GOP to overturn it, people started taking notice, and I got a ton of hits. I also got a ton of new subscribers. So another reason why I really wanted to get this video out there. I want to thank all of you new subscribers to my channel. I hope to do a little better job of getting videos out a little bit more timely. And certainly I'm going to be doing one on the Affordable Care Act, on ways to strengthen it, and to give you some pretty good talking points the next time you confront your congressman or senator at their next town hall meeting when they start trying to go off on how Obamacare is destined to fail. So anyway, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you again real soon. Have a great day.